Hello again, and welcome back to Illegally Cited. This is Jesse, aka BGFH, and I am back for kind of the resurrection of a playlist or a type of video that I haven't really done much with on the channel for quite a while, actually. If you've been around for a while, you may remember early on the channel, I had a brief series of videos on, they were called AT demos, basically assistive technology demos. This is before I really had an idea of where the channel was going, but I thought I would throw some stuff up there about, mainly back then it was like some free and low-cost assistive technology options for the computer, mainly things like Windows Magnifier. I think I did one on GlassBrick, System Access, NVDA. But I haven't really done much. I mean, I've done, accessible apps and things, but I haven't actually done hardware or, other software, that kind of a thing. And I've been kind of thinking about bringing the playlist back for a little while. And I'm actually going to, I think, be kind of relaunching it in a way. In addition to resurrecting it, because AT demos is really kind of vague. That's just kind of like, oh, if people are new to the channel or new to assistive technology, like AT demos, like, what does that necessarily mean? Just kind of a shorthand. So I think we're going to, keep with the spotlight theme here, and we're going to do some assistive technology spotlights. We're going to roll those, even though they're probably cringeworthy by today's standards. I haven't watched them probably since I uploaded them. But I'm going to basically roll those old videos into this new playlist, or rename the original playlist, and continue on from there. So we're going to cover a little bit more assistive technology products that I own. And we are going to cover possibly some assistive technology products that I might be able to get my hands on through my day job work. Just to show you guys some assistive technology devices that I'm familiar with and stuff like that we have available. So, assistive technology spotlight. We're going to kick this off not by actually demonstrating or really showing any devices this time, unfortunately, because A, they would be really hard to actually show what is in the device themselves, but also I want to start this out by talking about a particular type of device that seems to be the new thing, the in thing right now. That's kind of the wave where things are going right now. So before I do that, just want to mention on the channel here, like I said, we got my YouTube channel page up here, and we are at, believe it or not, we are at 1,029 subscribers. So it's just keeps kind of gradually going up, which is kind of neat, kind of cool to see. Keep it coming. Hope you guys are enjoying these. Hope you guys are enjoying all the different types of content that the channel has to offer. Again, check out. There's a lot of videos on here. There's a lot more to come. And if you want to find, a certain type of video that you're interested in, definitely check out the playlists tab, because that's where you're going to find everything organized into nice playlists. And I want to talk a little bit about CSUN. Not much, because honestly, from everything that I've seen on Twitter, podcasts, talking to people that have actually, a coworker went down there. This year really wasn't really a lot, from what I can tell. There wasn't really a lot new as far as like, oh wow, there's this new crazy groundbreaking thing that we haven't seen before. There's updates to existing products. There are some new products, that are kind of variations or newer models of older products, or, again, there's some companies that are basically, I know one of my coworkers had said, there's some other companies, like overseas companies, that are basically making cheaper versions of, they look eerily similar to existing, really popular products like CCTVs and stuff that are already out there on the market. So there's that kind of a thing. The couple, again, just like last year when I went to see Sun, there's still kind of that thing about refreshable Braille displays, especially more affordable refreshable Braille displays. I already talked about the Orbit displays, I think, in my wrap-up video, my year wrap-up video last year. They're kind of out. A few people have got them. I have a friend who got one, but unfortunately, him and a few other people, there's some initial launch units that have some Braille dot issues, so some of the dots aren't coming up the way they're supposed to. So they're issuing replacements, and so it's kind of a rough launch for that. Kind of a slower, kind of a a little bit of a problematic launch. I mean, yeah, it's a new, totally new type of display. It's a totally new type of launch that they're doing for that type of display, but it's still rather frustrating. Hopefully that gets ironed out, and that thing will actually fully launch better hopefully pretty soon, because the Orbit has been talked about for years now. The other one that I'm really curious to see is a device called the Braille Me, which is kind of a direct competitor, I would say, to that. Another display that's going to launch probably between $400 and $500. Now, I think they're launching it they're made in India, and they're, I think, looking for distributors in the United States. This one has routing capabilities for the cells. From what I heard, the shell casing is a little bit cheaper plastic than something like the Orbit or your traditional Braille display. But for $300-400, a 20-cell display with input keys, and it's only 6 instead of 8-dot Braille. But hey, the Braille Me, that's that could be something to look out for. There's some new CCTV models, new updates to all of your, Braille displays and note takers, that kind of a thing. But not really much that I can think of. Again, I'm sure the sessions were great, but as far as like the exhibit hall and stuff, like actual new exciting products, the couple Braille tablets, those things are hopefully going to be coming around in the next year or two. So that's kind of neat. But I can't really think. There's not really a lot else I can think about CSUN. There's not really. I mean, I wasn't there, but there's not really a whole lot else I can say. Kind of just kind of in, not a groundbreaking year, but kind of just iterating on a lot of current products and stuff like that. So the meat of this video is actually about an assistive technology spotlight, and I'm going to be kind of talking about a certain type of assistive technology that is really kind of becoming popular, and people want to know a lot about these types of things in the low vision community. We've had a lot of inquiries at work about them, and I've been personally curious about them myself, especially with the way technology has been advancing over the past several years. And of course, we are talking about head-mounted magnification devices. When I worked down in Florida for a couple of years, in like 2006, until late 2009, I think it was. Anybody remember the original Jordy CCTV? It kind of ties into the whole VR headset, because basically, those looked like VR headsets before commercial VR headsets were a thing, before the Oculus Rift, before the Gear VR, the HTC Vive. You had the Jordy. Basically, you had a camera on this big old headset, and you had these little screens in there. And the whole thought was you had hands-free magnification. You could put it in like a little stand where you could use it as a CCTV hooked up to a monitor, or you could pick it up and then put it on your head. It was kind of a big and bulky thing back in the day. And it worked for some people. It worked really well. Unfortunately, it did not work well for me. And the reason why is kind of something I'm going to get into when I start talking about some of the headsets that we that I want to talk about in this video, because I'm sure a lot of low vision users who follow the channel might be curious about this type of thing. So before I go any further, I just want to say these are my personal opinions. This is based on, I have tried most of the videos, all but one of the headsets in this video, and I'm going to be trying the final headset in about 2 weeks at work. So I will maybe have some updated opinions. Follow me on Twitter at BGFH79, and I'm sure I'll post something there about my thoughts, and I can maybe incorporate it into another future video of some kind, maybe. But like I said, this is based on my vision, my my personal opinion, my personal thoughts. For any of these devices, whether I say good or bad things about them or whatever, they're definitely something that you have to try for yourself. If you're curious about this type of thing, and if you think you have like use cases for this type of headset magnification device, I definitely recommend trying to maybe talk to a state agency, talk to your local assistive technology vendors, dealers, to see if anyone has it carries them or sells them or can demo them to you. And if all else fails, go to the websites that I'm going to have featured in this video, because contact the companies directly. That's what we did actually for several of these. I or somebody else, we just emailed them or called them or both and said, hey, we're, day job, it was pretty easy to do, because I was like, hey, we work with blind customers, and we want to see this and see if it would work for our clients and ourselves. And we arranged a site demo, and we went from there. So there's no harm in contacting. I would encourage you to contact the companies directly if you're interested in a demo. So that being said, I want to talk about some head-mounted displays. And we're going to go from my channel page to the first one. And I'm going to do these in the order that I saw them. And the first one that we're looking at is the Esight Glasses. Now, the Esight, you see the little kind of movie clip here. I mean, you wear them on your face like you're wearing a VR headset, like you're wearing a Gear VR or an Oculus Rift or Vive, whatever it is. And in fact, a couple of them, spoiler alert, actually use Gear VRs for what they do, but we'll get there eventually. The Esight is the first one that I saw. I saw an earlier model, 2 years ago or so. I'll scroll down here. You see kind of some other pictures and stuff, pictures of it. You got some people here. Is a picture of the headset itself. And this is the third iteration of the device. You got a little remote there. This is just their website. We don't have all these on hand, so I can't show them all to you. This was the first one I saw. The original model, I got to tell you, I was not impressed. We had a demo at work, and when they came in, I tried it out. And to me anyway, the image quality was really kind of low, and when you turned your head to look around, like the image would kind of just, it's almost like, when you do this, like you watch my VR videos when we're doing like the snap look around, and it kind of goes jump, 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 instead of the smooth turning. It kind of looked like that. Except in real life. And so it was really kind of, really didn't care for it back then. And thankfully we just had a demo in the last maybe 2 weeks or so. And we got to see the updated, the third iteration. And it's gotten a lot better. It has gotten a lot better. You can turn your head, and there's a little bit of lag you notice from time to time when you turn your head, especially if you move it kind of quickly. But when you look around, it actually works pretty well. You can zoom in, you can zoom out, you can change. Basically, it's a head-mounted video magnifier or a head-mounted CCTV. That's what the primary focus of these devices are. And you could zoom in, zoom out, change the color, all that kind of stuff. And some people could see in it pretty well. We had some low vision people who actually it worked quite well for. Unfortunately, myself, even the third iteration, this is still not the headset for me. The problem with it is, and this is a problem that's especially for the first couple of headsets I'm going to talk about here, and I referred to it earlier in the video when I was talking about the original Jordy. The problem, it is kind of hard to explain, but I'll do my best. There's a combination of things that make the difference as to whether some of these headsets or glasses are going to work for my particular vision. Again, in my left eye, I have crap vision. My left eye is my better eye. And in that, last I had it checked, was like 20/800. And the other one was like 2200. So I have better central vision in my left eye. My right eye is crap. I have a little bit better peripheral vision in my right eye. But as far as central vision, it's just a kind of a supplement at best. So, I have and I have the rapid eye movement, nystagmus, or whatever it's called. I have that as well. So, the combination of things that make the Esight and some of these other headsets not work for me is that the field of view on these, meaning like how much you can see at a time, like when you're looking in front of you, you're not, if you have normal vision, you can see pretty clearly what's ahead of you, and then you can see a little bit of peripheral vision, like off to the side. You can see like if somebody, if something's over off to the side or in the corner, you can kind of see what's going on a little bit, but not as clearly, but you can see it. And then if as some people have, like if, what was it? RP, retinitis pigmentosa. I think that's where you get like tunnel vision. Your field of view goes down. Well, the glasses, like in the original Jordy and the Esight, the combination of things where the image itself was it looked far away from my eye. The device itself doesn't sit, you wear it like a headset, but the screen itself it's not like quite like wearing glasses. It seems like the screen is a little bit further away from that. And on top of that, when you're basically looking into these two small screens. And when you look into the screens, think about have you ever looked through, excuse me, have you ever looked through a monocular or binoculars? Or imagine, go grab a roll of toilet paper from the bathroom, or an empty toilet paper roll. And if you hold that up to your eye, what you're doing is you're looking through the binocular, the monocular, or the toilet paper roll. You're looking through that tube, and then you're getting to see the image past that. You're looking through the tube. You're looking through the device. And to a lesser degree, that's what you're doing in the original Jordy. That's what you're doing in the Esight. You're actually looking, you can kind of see, like it almost looks like a square box that you're looking through. And then you're seeing a small screen kind of off in the distance. And so the combination of that image being virtually so far away, you're looking through the device, and then on top of that, having such a small screen, both, the front screen and the and when you're looking through the tiny screen, when you're looking in the back of the device there, that combination of things makes, especially looking at fine detail or reading, very difficult for me. Now, with the Series 3, that's the third version of the eSight, if I zoomed in almost all the way, and if I, concentrated really hard, I could read some letters, but it was not going to be, I mean, it's obviously not going to be near enough to be efficient. I'm not going to read a book with this. I'm not going to read a handout with this. It's just not going to be efficient enough for me to do. I mean, I could try it in full color. I could do it in white on black, black and white, whatever. It just wasn't. It was too far away, and the screen, the field of view was way too small of an angle, degree angle, that I just could not see it well. Like I said, other people can. There's other people where it actually works quite well. So that is the eSight. Now, currently, this thing is definitely the most expensive. At one time, when the original came out, I think it was like 15 grand. And the current price, I want to say, is like right around 10. So $10,000. So yeah, it's spendy, and they're like, well, yeah, but if it's a quality product, we're putting all these like fancy lenses and we're, calibrating things, and I get that to a degree, but that's still really quite expensive. And I think they're targeting. I mean, really, the thing is they're targeting certain types of eye conditions. You go to their, you go to the eSight website and read up about it, and it's really designed for, you really have to have a lower, like a minor vision impairment, I would say, to make them work efficiently. Now, there's one other thing I want to mention specifically about this device, and I've talked to a couple of people, so if I'm misquoting this or if I'm misunderstanding this, I apologize, but there's another little red flag that really kind of rubs me the wrong way about this device. So if you are working through, let's say, like a state agency, and you can go there to basically get a hands-on demo or a trial, and you can go try it for yourself, that's great. But if you contact the company directly, they do offer, they will arrange an in-home trial for you, and I want to say, was it 14 or 15 days? Because I think we had one of our clients try that not too long ago. Here's the kind of shady part. In order to do that trial, they charge, I want to say it's like $500, and to my knowledge, that is not refundable. And if you do like it and you do decide to purchase it, I think that goes toward your full purchase, which, okay, is good. But really, a non-refundable trial? $500? Damn, son. No, I don't think I'm going to be doing that. Now, I do understand, like, you don't want to have somebody, you have this expensive piece of equipment and you don't want somebody to walk off with it or break it. I understand that. But if I were them, I would treat it like a hotel. You go to a hotel, you pay your room rate, but maybe they hold a $50 deposit, a room deposit, for if you trash your room or, whatever the deposit is, you put in some extra money, gets charged to your debit or credit card. And then when you leave and they confirm, oh, you're just a regular guest and you did not destroy our room, okay, we'll give you your money back. I think I wouldn't have such a problem with it if you got the money back. But to my understanding, I want to say that $500 is non-refundable. And if it isn't, I apologize. But if it is, I think that's really kind of shady. I'm not going to want to pay $500 in the chance that something might work, and in which case I'll have to spend another $9,500 for. No, probably not. So a word of caution on Esight for that. And again, I apologize if I am wrong on any of that, but based on like through work and talking to a couple of people, that's how I understood it to work. So a little cautionary thing there. Let's move on to the next headset. Now, again, the Jordy, they revived the Jordy Enhanced Vision. They revived their Jordy headset. So we got their web page up here. You see some, it's another little headset. Let me go down right here. Let me zoom in a little bit here. There we go. So you have a little remote here that's got some controls on it. And this one looks kind of weird, man. It's got this camera in the middle. It kind of looks like you're like an alien. So you got these glasses, and then your eyepieces in the back there, and then the camera, which is good, is in the middle. But it kind of looks like something that you'd wear. I don't know. It looks really science fiction-y. It's kind of cool, but kind of weird looking. I did get to try this at work as well. And like I said, I was really interested. I was really intrigued about it. And I was hoping that, hey, maybe they took the old Jordy and maybe they made it, with the technology, it got a lot better. And again, just like the Esight, the image was quite a bit better. But I have the same exact problem as I do with the Esight and the original Jordy. The combination of, you have these really small screens, you're looking through the device before you get to this little tiny screen off in the virtual distance. And when I talked to the person about it, they were kind of like, well, we tested it with a lot of blind, with a lot of low vision people and stuff, and okay, yeah, you probably did. But in this demo, I think there was a few people that, they had similar issues that I did. If you have a little bit more severe vision impairment, and you need things to be closer, to be able to see it decent, that virtual distance, again, hold that monocular or toilet paper roll up to your eye and try to look at something through that tube. That's kind of what it's like. And it's not, okay, the image might be clear at the end of the monocular or the toilet paper roll, but it's too far away to read or to see detail. So, unfortunately, the same problem that I had with the Esight, I had here. So at this point, we saw this, I want to say late last year, maybe October, November last year. I would say around like September, October, we really started seeing, like I said, we saw the Esight a couple of years ago, and then we contacted and we got to see this. And then we got to our next headset. So at this point, I was kind of losing hope. I'm like, crap. There's two of these headsets. I love the concept. I love the idea. They just don't work for my kind of vision. Then we got to the IrisVision. Now, remember when I said the Gear VR? The next two that I'm going to talk about, believe it or not, so you got this little kind of video animation here on the top here. So you look at this, and let me refresh the page here so it starts from the beginning. And you'll kind of see, so you got your headset, you pick it up, put it on your head, and it shows the view. Now, this is really kind of interesting because this does some really different things that I never really would have thought of with low vision, with the way you can view things. It's kind of neat. But before I talk about that, look at the device itself. Here you got the headset on the person's head. This is a Samsung Galaxy S7, I think, that they use for it right now. So it's a couple of Galaxy phones behind, but it's still a good phone. And they use the Samsung Gear VR. So you're using off-the-shelf actual virtual reality hardware to do this CCTV magnification. And when I saw this, like I said, prior to this, I was actually getting really discouraged that none of these products would work for me. I was really getting discouraged and kind of frustrated, disappointed. I contacted the people at Iris, and I requested could we get a demo of your product? I'd like to see it. We'd like to see it for our customers and a couple of us ourselves. I put the thing on, and within about 10 seconds, I immediately knew that, holy crap, this is actually way better than the other headsets that we've talked about so far. Because again, think about how mainstream virtual reality works. The Oculus Rift, the Vive, Gear VR. The whole point of virtual reality is to put somebody in an immersive environment so that you really don't think about the fact that you're looking through a headset. If you're doing that, you obviously want the image to be right in front of you, because you don't want to look at it and go, oh yeah, I can tell that I'm looking through a tube or looking through a whatever, and I'm seeing some screens off in the distance. That's not how VR works. That's not going to be immersive at all. You're going to have one big image right up in front of your eyes, right up in your grill. And you're going to have a larger field of view because you want to have, at least to try to as good a view as you can, field of view as you can. And like I said, I put this on after about 10 seconds. I'm like, I think this could actually work. And I played with it a little bit more, and it did totally work. Now, I still had to zoom in a fair bit. I couldn't really read things at low levels of magnification, but I could still zoom in, pretty far, and I could read. I was sitting there with with some kind of a flyer or pamphlet or document or something. Tried a couple of different ones, and I was reading between like 10 to 12 point font. Yes, it was magnified quite a bit, but I was, reading it, and I was holding it out the paper at like a normal, you have your hands in your lap, like somebody, a fully sighted person is reading a book, and they kind of have, maybe their hands are kind of resting on their knees and they just have the book kind of propped up at a comfortable distance away. I was able to read normal print enlarged with that. Because the image was right in front of my face, and because it was a much larger single image and not these little tiny screens at the back of a monocular or a toilet paper roll. That combination makes the world of difference, and it worked. So we actually did get a local vendor to carry these now. We actually own one at work that we can use to demo for people. And we've had a couple people, I don't know if any of my people that I've worked with specifically have gotten one yet, but I think a couple of other techs that I work with may have recommended one or two. But like I said, we've had several people try, either through us or through some other means. They've tried the Esight. They've tried the Jordy. They've tried some of these other headsets, and then they try the Iris, and there's been one or two people where the Iris is actually for what they needed, and because they wanted a smaller field of view because of they had like tunnel vision, or because of their type of vision impairment, where the Esight did work better. But I would say a great majority of them, it's almost like that, just like me, that instant, like 10, 15 seconds you put it on and go, oh, this is actually, this can immediately work a little better. So this has promise. I've worked with it a fair amount now. I'm kind of getting comfortable with it. And I mentioned, like I said, they do some interesting things with it. If we go back up to the top here, we look at some of the stuff. Let me reload it again because I want to show you a little bit with the animation here. And again, if I was showing this to you, I wouldn't be able to show you what's in the goggles anyway because I wouldn't necessarily have a way to capture that direct feed. Now you see they're looking at the image, but you see it's kind of rounded. And I want to say it shows up another place here. So some of the stuff, yeah, like it has, like, you have this little bubble and you can have it. I personally don't like the bubble, but you can take the center of your view and you can make it like this round or kind of oval shaped lens bubble thing. And then, so outside the bubble, you're seeing, unmagnified image. And then you're seeing this kind of virtual magnifying lens in the middle of your view where you're getting the magnification and your color enhancements. And the way it works, you have a touchpad on the right side of your Gear VR headset, and you can swipe up or down to basically make your bubble smaller, up to make it bigger, until you get to up to the top. And what happens then, you just get rid of the bubble altogether, and then it's just a full screen magnification, no rounded or oval bubble at all. And that's the way I like to use it personally. I like the full magnification, and it works well. Works pretty well. And you can change the color contrast. They have a mode where basically you can look at something, and then you can basically freeze frame, take a little picture. And then what's neat about that is it doesn't just capture what you're currently looking at. So like if you have it zoomed in a ways, but you take a picture, you could then put your paper down or look somewhere else, but then you can actually turn your head and kind of, pan around this frozen image instead of moving the paper around constantly. So let's say you zoom out, you take a picture of an unmagnified or very little magnified page, you snap your picture, you zoom in, and then you just kind of turn your head instead of having to hold the paper up. And it's hard to explain, but it actually works pretty well. There's a few things about it that I wish there's a couple things, and I've talked to the guys a little bit, giving them a little bit of feedback. I might work with them a little bit more in the future, which would be very cool. But one of the things with their color modes, I wish that they had, they do kind of a series of color modes. Like there's a white on black, or like an inverted. There's like a yellow on black. There's a blue and yellow. But I kind of wish what they would do, like the next headset that we're going to talk about, have both polarities of those colors. So if you're going to do black and white, do a white on black and a black and white, a hard black and white. If you're going to do yellow and black, make the one with the yellow background, black text, and then vice versa, black background, yellow text. Same with blue and yellow. Yellow background, blue text, blue background, yellow text. Because that way, you can have both polarities and people can choose, because some people do like the light backgrounds and some people like the dark backgrounds. I'm a fan of the dark, but like I said, some people like the other one. And the other thing I don't think it has, that some of these other ones do, is they don't have a grayscale, if I remember correctly. And sometimes grayscale can be actually really helpful, because it's almost like a full color mode. It doesn't, make it a hard contrast compared to full color, but just grayscale can actually be a really can be really helpful in some cases. I actually really kind of rather like that. Let's go on to the next one. Believe it or not, this next one I just saw yesterday as I'm recording this. So this one, let's zoom in a little bit so you can take a peek. We have the Patriot ViewPoint. This also uses the Samsung phone, although I think they're using an S8 instead of the S7. And they are also using the Gear VR. Yeah, now this is $2,900. I want to say the Iris might be $2,500. Don't quote me on that. But see, this is what you're looking at through the picture, through the lenses. And both of these are very comfortable because they're Gear VR. They're a very comfortable headset to wear. If I look at the other picture here on both of these headsets, this is the touchpad that I was talking about. So you swipe up and down to adjust your bubble on the other one. You swipe forward and backward in order to adjust the magnification. And then you have the mode button up here that changes your color. You have the other button that basically on the other headset does your freeze frame. This one works a little bit differently. So this one, the Patriot, what it does, you swipe forward and backward just as the other one does, although the near and zoom in, zoom out, they're opposites of each other. I want to say this one you swipe forward to zoom in, and the other one you swipe backward to zoom in, so they're just opposite. You can zoom in and out, and then up and down on this one, you swipe up and down, and it adjusts the contrast, or the brightness, I should say, the brightness. And then the other one, there are some buttons in front of the touchpad that will adjust brightness. So it does have the brightness controls, they just do it a little bit different way. And again, this one, in a way, I like a little bit better in a couple of ways because, again, you have the same type of functionality as the IrisVision, or very similar type of functionality. No bubble, it's always full screen. But with the IrisVision, you have the bubble. And the other thing that I forgot, let me go back to the Iris really fast. The IrisVision, the other thing you have besides the bubble is there is a like a picture-in-picture mode where you have, see, there's your bubble. You just saw a thing of the bubble there. But you have this, like if you have bifocals, basically, you have like a little point at the top that's magnified, and then you have, the other part that's not magnified. So you have kind of a split view. So this one does support that. So I would say if you have a little bit better low vision, like if your vision isn't quite as bad, and you want a little bit more flexibility with visual stuff right now, I would say the IrisVision is probably a little better way to go, just because they have some of those flexible options. If you can take advantage of the bifocal-esque mode, which doesn't work for me, but I think for some people could be pretty handy, you could do that. The other thing that I want to mention when comparing it to the Patriot, you notice the phone here is right in the headset itself, and that's just the way it is. That's the way it normally is. So in order to use this, you have to take the headset, or you have to take the phone out, power on the phone, and then put it back in. There's basically like where your little USB-C port on the bottom of the phone is. There's like a little. Let me see if I can zoom in here. Like by the right up here, one of these turns out. I think it's this one here. it kind of flips up a little bit, and then you slide the USB-C port into that little notch, and then you flip it shut, and then this side just locks in. So that's the way it works normally. But I hate when it does that. The problem with doing that I see over time that I didn't think of right away. But one of the potential things I could see is that, this is something that people are going to be, especially if you want to use this a lot, you're going to be taking this thing in and out of your phone. Like if you're going to use it off and on all day, you'll just keep it in and just put it in sleep mode. But if you aren't going to, you're going to take it out maybe a couple times a day because you're only going to use it for a certain, maybe you're going to use it once for a class in the morning and then once late afternoon for a class or in the evening. You're going to be taking that thing in and out of the phone a fair amount, the phone out of the headset a fair amount over time. And I'm wondering if that sliding it in and out of that little port, if the port or the connection is going to get a little bit loose after a while, or if it'll break or anything like that. I would hope it wouldn't, but that is kind of a slight concern that I would have, if somebody keeps having to take it in and out like that. Whereas this one, the Patriot, let me see if I can get a better screenshot here. Let's, how about this one? You can kind of tell. So this one does something really sort of interesting. Well, you can't really tell. Well, no, you really can't. On the front of the headset, there's a... Let me see if there's another picture down below. Not really. But anyway, what they do is they actually put this other little like 3D printed piece of plastic or whatever in front of the phone, and then on the top of your device there's a single button, and then on the bottom of the device there's two buttons that they must kind of map to. They probably just are printed so that they hit the actual physical phone's buttons. But what they do then is you never have to take the phone out of its little Gear VR shell, and you can still turn it on and off on the top, and then the bottom ones are your volume up and down buttons. So this one, I would say, it's a little bit maybe more straightforward because you don't have to keep taking it in and out of the headset. And I think even for, like, let's say again, if you're working with somebody who is a senior or new to technology or maybe intimidated by technology, doesn't want anything really complicated, I would think this one would be maybe a little bit more streamlined, a little bit more easier to learn. You turn it on the top. You swipe your finger, you hit your button to change your color modes. Now the other button, remember on the Iris, it did a this one up here, you change the color, but this one over here, it would do a freeze frame. On the other headset, on the Patriot, what this one does is you can actually OCR documents. So you can kind of treat it like a head-mounted KNFB reader or head-mounted Prismo Go, whichever, take your pick. And I did try it some yesterday, and then I borrowed the device for a while today and took it all around the office. Tried to read some papers, tried to read some signs, tried to read some bulletin boards, stuff tacked up around the office. And like in a lot of cases, especially for reading paper documents, the Patriot actually did a pretty good job. It was using the Samantha voice, I believe. I think it has Samantha and Tom. and it was using the Samantha, and it was easy to understand, and it actually did a pretty good job. I actually took a picture of a computer screen. I took a picture of, like I said, a couple of documents, one of which was like a warranty type form that had, or like a RMA form that had some repair information in it. So there was like tables and stuff. It wasn't perfect, but it did actually a pretty accurate job. So I was pretty impressed overall with that. When I was looking at the computer screen, I actually had to kind of zoom in a couple of notches. Otherwise, it wasn't picking it up. I think that maybe between you're trying to capture another screen and maybe some small text. Like I tried looking at a web page. I looked at AppleVis, and then I looked at my Outlook, my main message list in my Outlook. And if I zoomed in one or two notches, then it could pick it up pretty well, actually. But at the smallest level of magnification, it had a little bit of trouble trying to capture a computer screen. Now, the weird oddity is that we have these little like nameplates. They're like dark, what are they, like dark brown or black or whatever, little nameplates with embossed like initial of first name and then last name. And it's clear, like visually, I could zoom in and read it with the headset pretty clear, but it hated the OCR. It did not want to read those little short signs. It's like J. Anderson or B. Bob. Billy Bob. I don't know, B. Bob. It wouldn't. It would not read those signs. I took it out to a different area of the office where they had similar types of signs, but they were talking about like the warnings for like the fire alarm being set off, or the not the fire alarm, but the security alarm, whatever. And it did read those, so I think there was a little bit of lighting difference in that part of the office versus where we were, where I was. It was a little bit darker, maybe. I tried at low level, I tried at high level magnification, and on those name tag signs, it just hated them. I don't know why. But it did read some of the other ones, so it's not going to be perfect, but I was pretty impressed with how it did. So, and I know I'm pretty sure the Iris guys are thinking about they're probably going to be putting OCR into their stuff, into their headset as well pretty soon. And they just did an update recently where they make, like, when you hit the color buttons and stuff, it'll do audible. It'll tell you like white on black, yellow and blue. So they did add some audio feedback for some of their stuff in the IrisVision, which is good. And this one, the Patriot here, also does have some audio indicators of like what color you're in, and when you zoom in and out, it kind of makes a clicking sound to let you know that you have swiped correctly and you're reading it well enough. Now, I want to say a couple things about both of these, because they're both using almost the same hardware. They're using the same VR headset, slightly different model phones. One thing that I would love to see in both of these headsets is, as far as I know, like I know you can do brightness on both of them, but I don't know if there's a way to turn the phone's flash on and off. And what I would suggest is the button that you use to toggle the colors. You hit it repeatedly to go through the list of colors. To make it easy, what I would do is maybe just have a mode where if you hold down that button for 2-3 seconds, it would toggle your camera flash on and off. Because, hold it for 2-3 seconds, turn it on, hold it for 2-3 more seconds, and you would turn it off. Because I was in my cubicle earlier today when I was trying to test this Patriot, and I noticed specifically with this one, even with the Iris actually a little bit, it's a little bit lower level lighting in the cube. And if you're in a good lit room, it actually works beautifully. But if you're maybe you took this to a restaurant, or maybe you took it to somewhere that's a little bit less well lit, um, when you, color wasn't so bad, but if you turned it to any of the other colors, white on black, black and white, or whatever, and you even slightly moved your head, it doesn't really matter what the brightness level was. You would get that kind of flickering, ghosting effect, where the words would kind of shimmer, kind of cut in and out quite a bit. And that was even with it close up. So like if again, being able to turn that flash on and off, maybe by holding the color mode button. If you just hold it down a few seconds to turn it on, do it again to turn it off. I think that would be very helpful. Yeah, it would eat the battery a little bit more, but if you were in a situation where you needed that, I think that would be a good thing for both of these headsets to have, because that both phones have have a flash on their camera. And here is the other thing, I would say more so for the IrisVision, because you can take it out of the headset, whereas the Patriot is kind of meant to be this like all-in-one, very simplistic. You turn it on, you don't have to take it out of the headset, turn it on and go. But with the Iris, especially since you can take the headset out, and I've talked to them a little bit about this too. My other sort of problem that I have, like, I love the fact that they're using off-the-shelf hardware. You're using a regular VR headset, you're using a regular smartphone, and you're basically building software to make them work and do a very helpful thing. But, I'm a nerd. There's a lot of people who are technical. And if I'm using the IrisVision, I want to be able to take it out of, I want to take the phone out of my headset, and it's probably just like some app that they made their own app software that they're basically locking you into. I would love to see the ability to let me use the IrisVision app as an app when I wanted to use it as a headset magnifier. And then if I wanted that Samsung phone to be my smartphone as well, let me hit the home button. Let me go to my home screen and use it as a regular phone. Let me use it. I can make phone calls, or I can use apps from Google Play. I could use other apps like KNFB Reader. I could use it. Again, any of the apps. You use it to read books with VoiceStream or whatever you wanted to do. I know they're talking about adding other features into it. I won't really say what those are because I'm not sure that I can. But of course, they're adding new features and capabilities and functions all the time. But I know, like I said, I would love to see the phones, since they are phones. I'd love the ability to be able to use them as smartphones, because it's just something that a lot of people are going to want to do. Now, I totally understand. You want to sell an all-in-one package, especially maybe one that locks the person into your IrisVision or your Patriot apps. I get that, because that's what they're going to buy them for. That's what they're going to use them for. And that's totally fine to do that. But in addition to, letting us use the phone as a smartphone as well, what if I already have, maybe I haven't heard of these devices before, but I currently have a Samsung phone already. Maybe I have a Galaxy S8. Maybe I have a Galaxy S9. And I could go buy a Gear VR for $100. Now, I know you're not going to make the $2,500, $3,000 profit that they want to make. I understand that. You can't charge as much. You're not going to make as much money, but, unless you're selling everything all together. But, if I have a Galaxy S8, 7, 8, 9, and I can go buy a Gear VR for $100, why couldn't I go to the Play Store and buy the IrisVision app, even if you charge, like, KNFB Reader? You charge $100 for it. You charge, I don't know, $200. I mean, that's way up there. But as far as mobile apps go, but I mean, okay, you buy the phone that you're going to buy anyway. Let's say you spend $800,000 on a phone. You spend $100 on a headset, and then even if you spent $100 or $200, that's still only that's still under $1,500. You just saved yourself a lot of money. And then the other advantage to doing that is, okay, you have the Samsung Galaxy S9 right now. Well, the Galaxy S10 comes out, and maybe if I already own that app, I can just go buy my new phone, as long as it's compatible with my same Gear VR, slap it in there, boom, I've got a faster device, I've got a better camera that the app can take advantage of. I mean, the modular design, that's one of the things that potentially I really like about having the smartphone and the VR headset. Not only do you have a bigger field of view and is the image closer, so it's more friendly to people with more severe low vision like myself, but you have the modularity options of, like, I'm just going to upgrade my Gear VR because I got a new one, or I'm going to upgrade my phone and re-download the app. Like I said, I understand that you're not, then you can't make the, maybe you charge every year or two for updates or something, because, like I said, if it's a valuable app, I know not everybody is. I know people have fits about paying for anything sometimes, be it apps or devices or what have you, but I, for one, would be willing to pay, periodically for some updates. If Winston said, "Oh, by the way, I did a major overhaul, and I'm sorry, but I have to charge you another $15 for voice stream," bring it on. I use that app so much, it's easily worth another, $15 or something. So I mean, if it's a value, I would use it, or I would be willing to pay, and that would kind of offset. You would still sell some of the all-in-one units for the people who don't want to tinker and don't want to have this all-in-one phone device as well as your CCTV. But for the people who do, the techie people, you have that option, and that's where I would really like to see this go, as an option. It doesn't have to be the only way, but I would love to see it as an option, so you can buy it as an all-in-one to keep it simple. Or you can bring your own devices and put them together and go download the app from the Play Store. That's where I would really love to see both of these go. Although, like I said, the Patriot, I don't know if you can snap that front piece off to take out the phone. So they may have to, in the future, if they were going to look at doing that type of setup, they would have to look at doing some sort of redesign so that you didn't have to, but you could take out the phone for that usage. But those are some thoughts on, I would say, the two headsets that are by far, for me personally, these work because they use regular virtual reality technology. You have the close-up image. You have the much bigger, wider field of view. And that is going to make a lot of difference. That is going to make all the difference for a lot of people. So one more, this is the one I have not seen yet, but I'm going to see at work here in about a week and a half-ish. This is called the NuEyes, and I've heard of this one for a little while. I didn't know really anything about it. I mean, the device looks pretty small. It looks pretty, I like the look of it. It kind of looks like sunglasses, actually. It looks pretty cool. You see the camera in the middle there. I don't know, like I said, I've tried to look at screenshots and things. I don't know how, here's the main question that's up in the air for me. Is this going to be more like the Jordy and the Esight, where you have these small screens and they're going to push that image farther away or farther back from you? If it is, this is going to be another one of those that doesn't work for me. If they keep the image right up in your eye and they give you a wider field of view, a better viewing angle, like the IrisVision and the Patriot, then we have a shot. Then we have a shot. And so I literally just talked to a couple of the guys on the phone about a week ago. We originally, because I really wanted to, like, I had seen so many of the other ones, and this is the other major one that I knew about. And so it's like, okay, I've seen all these other, we've gotten to see all these other ones. Let's see if we can get a hold of these guys, and let's see if we can arrange a demo so that we basically, at least all of us, have seen the major headsets that are out there. And so we're going to remedy that. And at least, even if we don't have them all on hand, if people ask about them, we'll go, oh yeah, this type of headset has this quality, or it works this way. And I think it may or may not work for you for these reasons. You still want to check them out if you're really interested, but we can at least make a better informed recommendation. So I talked to them a little bit ago, and they seem really open to getting feedback from people. And actually, all these guys, like, even I haven't talked to. I've talked to the Iris guys. They're really cool. They're definitely open to, like, working with people to kind of make improvements and stuff with their devices. Actually, the Patriot guy, if it's the guy I'm thinking of, hey man, how's it going? I think I know him. I worked with him in Florida quite a bit, actually. So I may talk to him in the near future as well. I may try to make just a personal connection with him as well. But this one, they seemed really receptive too. And I said, because I kind of asked them about, is the image close up to your eye? What is the viewing angle? Because those are the things I know that I needed to ask. And he thought, my vision might be just on the verge of working or not working. We're not sure. They probably recommend 20/600 or less, and mine is on the outer range of that. So I don't have immediate, like, super high hopes, but there's some potential. There's still some potential there. But what the guy did say, I'm like, because I asked him, I said, like, well, hey, have you guys thought about, if you're targeting this type of vision impairment, that it is, let's say 20/60 and to 20/600, let's say, have you thought about a headset that has maybe a closer screen and a bigger field of view for people like myself who have a little bit more severe vision impairment? And they're like, oh yeah, we would be open to, trying to figure that out, because we could probably, pull something together, reasonably well with that. So, even if this one doesn't work, hopefully maybe there's some potential to, for future versions or different models that may work similarly. So that is all of the headsets. We are landed back on my YouTube channel. I totally apologize. I know this is a really long video, but I wanted to give each headset its own due. I wanted to, tell you guys a little bit of, like I said, I've tried all of them but the last one, all of them but the NuEyes, and that's going to be remedied here in a week or so. And like I said, everybody, we've had calls, we've had emails, we've had people asking, oh, well, I've heard about the Esight, or, oh, I've heard about these, CCTVs, they're video magnifiers that you wear on your head. Are they good? Should I look into these? Do you recommend them? And if it's not just in this state, I'm sure people, like I said, people are hearing about them through podcasts and through videos and through whatever. It's kind of the new trend. For a while there we had, it was CCTVs that also do OCR and talk, and now it seems to be the new trend is, let's put something on your head because VR is cool and VR is a thing now. So that's kind of been a thing that's been catching on. And so, like I said, we got a lot of people asking about it. I'm sure it's not just Minnesota. So, like I said, if you guys have been sort of curious about these VR-esque head-mounted magnifiers for low vision, these are some initial thoughts and impressions for a variety of these headsets. So keep an eye on the channel in the future. I don't, like I said, I don't know that I'm going to be able to show you direct feed footage, but I still might be able to do a video where I can physically handle the headset and at least show you, like, the iris taking the thing out of the thing, and how you'd put it back in, just showing you the physical aspects of the devices. I may or may not be able to do that depending on how things go, but I at least really wanted to give you guys an overview of this type of technology, because that, like, again, this is really seeming to be the trend right now. So I think I covered pretty much everything that I wanted to. Again, I'm not trying to, badmouth any one product over the other, or, really praise one or the other. Those are just really what I found. Like the first couple that I used, unfortunately, they just didn't work for my particular vision. Again, this is my vision. This is, my impressions. If this does sound interesting, you definitely see if you can get a demo or something like that for yourself, and get your own impressions as well. But hopefully, at least that'll give you guys something to think about, something to explore, and we'll wrap it up here because I know we've gone pretty long. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Definitely keep checking back to see the new videos in the Assistive Technology Spotlight series. Going to resurrect that again. I've already got a couple of videos recorded, other videos recorded that we'll unlock here pretty soon. And all the usual stuff. Follow me on Twitter at BGFH79. Keep the subscribes coming. Like the video. Leave any comments, and join the Illegally Cited Steam group. Don't forget, I actually just made illegallicited.com. It's a thing. Yes, I own the domain now, and it's a very simple, basic website, but it's a website. It exists. So check that out, and until next time, hope you guys enjoyed the video. And until next time, I'll talk to you guys again later.